welcome to All Steelers Talk, your home for everything Pittsburgh Steelers, presented by allsteelers.com. Hello and welcome, ladies and gents. I'm your host, Noah Strapine, joined always by Donnie Droon. Donnie, Chase Claypool is now on the injury report. Dr. Dre is in the house at Super Bowl 56? 61? 56, correct? 56.
I think so.
LVI, that's what we know it as.
Yeah, 56.
And the Steelers are nearly a touchdown underdog at SI Sportsbook. It's Thursday. It's been I want to say an entertaining week on both sides. Aaron Rodgers basically said, "Hey, Pittsburgh, what are we doing here? Come get me, please. I'm a free agent coming." Then Ben Roethlisberger returns to practice after missing a day. Juju Smith-Schuster back at practice. Deontay Johnson, a full participant at practice. And then, whoop, throw it all out the door. Chase Claypool, hamstring injury, not good. But we're going to start off with the real Slim Shady, with Snoop Doggy Dogg, Mary J. Blige, and like I said, Dr. Dre, headlining the halftime show at Super Bowl LVI, Super Bowl 53. Look at, I'm going to ask because I already know this answer, but is this the greatest halftime show of our generation?
It should be. Of our generation, absolutely. I think the only thing that might rival it might be Prince a few years back whenever he did the halftime show. And then not even our generation, but like the halftime show that Michael Jackson did has got to be up there. But just in terms of like star power and like people sharing the stage all at once, I mean, I really hope this halftime show is like an hour long, just because like all of the catalogs of those people you just named. I thought last year's the Weeknd did a really good job. Granted, like a lot of the visual stuff was kind of like weird, but the music was good. So that's what I'm here for. At the end of the day, I'm here to be entertained. And I mean, it's just talking. Not even my favorite genre of music, but just like everybody knows who Snoop Dogg is, Dr. Dre, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar. I mean, the music can go on for days when it comes to them. So phenomenal choice by them.
Phenomenal. 10 out of 10. I'm looking up the list right now because I truly, I don't think Prince is the only one that comes to mind. The Weeknd was good, but the Weeknd was weird. Like, isn't that the year he came out? His face was real big. Everybody was like, what is going on? Yeah. Like, wasn't that like a character? Am I thinking of that correctly? Didn't he like?
Yeah, it was right after he had that like plastic surgery, and like he did a bunch of like, I don't even say interpretive, but it was just really weird. Phenomenal music. Phenomenal music. If that's what we got to deal with, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, true. And then like who had the Sharks? Lady Gaga was the Sharks, correct? Or Katy Perry?
Katy Perry?
Katy Perry was the Sharks. Obviously, Jennifer Lopez and Shakira did the halftime show that got every creepy dad out there off the chair, ready to go. That was like the last Super Bowl that I like watched like with friends and family. And I'm a little embarrassed to say friends and family because of where I'm going with this story. But I remember the whole first, from the second I walked in the door at the Super Bowl party, like an hour before the game, the dude's dad, whose house I was at, just was like, "Yo, man, you looking forward to this halftime show?" And I'm like, I guess, man. I mean, I'm looking forward to Patrick Mahomes, but like we could talk about the halftime show. And then it came on, and this dude, he called every single dude in the house to the living room. He was like, "Noah, Justin, everybody, let's go. Shakira, Jennifer Lopez," and then made weird comments the whole time. Like, and I felt like that was every single household. Like, I hope probably, like, that's what they did. There's been some weird ones, all good ones, but I don't think that there's any. I mean, I grew up like Eminem was my god, and like Snoop Dogg not far behind him. I know that like my younger brother's generation is Kendrick Lamar. Like that's their Eminem. I'm not super huge on Kendrick Lamar, but I do love Kendrick Lamar.
I like
Dr. Dre, legend. Mary J. Blige, dark horse to this whole thing. Can we acknowledge that? Probably.
Oh, definitely.
Like, she comes out here like, I can't think of a Mary J. Blige song off the top of my head, but if she comes out here and just gets her song, like a whole her, while everybody else is just kind of chilling in the background, I think the crowd goes more nuts than probably anybody else.
I feel like it could have been just Mary J. Blige and people would have been really satisfied with the halftime show.
Oh, no doubt. I think you could pick any. I would say outside of Kendrick Lamar, I think that
I
Kendrick
think people
Lamar,
would have been hyped for that. I would have been hyped for just Kendrick.
I think I would have been, but to get everybody, like we're 25, 26 years old. That's a little different. Like my dad's not going to be like, man, Kendrick Lamar. Whereas in like my dad would be like, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. That's pretty cool. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Kind of like grabbed everybody. And like, I know people who are like in their 30s who Eminem, man. Eminem's doing a halftime show, especially if he goes old school Eminem, drops some encore on there, a little curtain call album. The game changer. The absolute game changer. I think it could be hopefully, for Steelers fans who maybe they don't get there this year. We're not gonna say not get there this year, but maybe they don't get there this year. You got something to look forward to. I know the city of Pittsburgh. I know Steelers fans. I think they'll like this halftime show. It'll be a good time. What they will not enjoy is hearing that Deontay Johnson is back at practice. Phenomenal, right? Awesome. This is what we've been waiting for. Pittsburgh Steelers have their receiver back. Juju Smith-Schuster, negative results on broken ribs. Things are in the right direction. But when it rains, it pours. And the Steelers just can't seem to get out of the rain. Chase Claypool, hamstring injury, was limited at practice on Thursday. You have to believe that means that he was injured in practice on Thursday. If he can't go and it's just Deontay Johnson and James Washington out there, how big of a blow is that to this Steelers offense?
Man, not great at all, especially whenever this game kind of teetering towards a shootout. And, the Steelers probably having to – I don't want to say shootout. The Steelers trying to play catch-up with the Green Bay Packers because, if they get down early, which I feel like it's going to go one or two ways. One, the Steelers are going to have their together, and they're going to be able to go blow for blow with the Packers. Or two, they're going to have to air the ball out earlier and often to try to keep up with Green Bay in order to prevent falling from behind 14-0, 21-0, anything like that. You're going to need every weapon possible. Every weapon matters. Every weapon counts. Deontay Johnson, a huge sign, obviously Ben's favorite target, arguably pound for pound the best receiver on the Steelers right now. But Claypool, added to the injury report, doesn't look like he can go. And obviously, we haven't been super big fans of Chase Claypool. I know we give him a lot of slack on the show, but he's obviously out there for a reason, right? He's a talented dude. He's 6'5". He moves with such a grace with the ball in his hands. I know Matt Canada loves getting him on his wide receiver sweeps. I know he's been trying to get a little bit better at those deep 50-50 balls. And not worse, he'll draw a pass interference flag deep down the field to keep the chains moving for the Steelers. That's something that James Washington can't do. That's something that Ray McLeod can't do. And you know what? In a environment like Lambeau Field, you're going to need it. You're going to need it, especially with Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers on the other side of the football, kind of waiting for their turn every couple minutes. Yeah, it's going to be missed.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let me ask you this. If you got to choose, if the Steelers get to pick between having Deontay Johnson or Chase Claypool, we'll add all three because I don't think Juju is a definite to play on Sunday. Rib injuries are rough. To be limited both days, I mean, it says he's not getting any better. Maybe he's not getting any worse, but he's not getting any better. If you could only pick two to play on Sunday, what's the more crucial two to have in a game for the Steelers?
Oh, I feel like Juju and Deontay, and obviously you want all three of those guys out there, but just what the Steelers have missed in Deontay Johnson is a certified route runner, a guy who can create separation both before and after the catch. His hands don't seem to be an issue this year. I mean, he's caught pretty much everything thrown his way, and he gets a lot of balls thrown his way. And I keep throwing this out every single episode, but 22 targets through the first 2 weeks. Absolutely phenomenal, both for fantasy owners and just for the Steelers trying to move the chains, because if you get the ball to Deontay Johnson and he catches it, good things are going to happen. That has been proven time and time again. I feel like Juju and Deontay are the definite top two receivers on this team. It's no disrespect to Chase Claypool, but we haven't really seen the best out of Claypool thus far, whether it be his rookie year last year or this year in 2021. I feel like a lot of what Chase Claypool can bring to the table is that sort of like deep threat. And I feel like that's something James Washington can kind of help replicate a little bit. I know Washington is almost that one-trick pony of, hey, man, we're going to throw this ball up and you're going to run 40 yards and, catch it under the ball, right? That's kind of what he does. He's not a phenomenal route runner. So I would definitely want a guy like Deontay Johnson out there over Chase Claypool if I had my pick.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you were spot on with James Washington because it's true. James Washington can do exactly what Chase Claypool can do. Maybe he's not 6'5", 230 pounds, so maybe he doesn't do it as well as Chase Claypool, but James Washington is a deep threat, a big-handed, toss it up, let me go get it type of guy. Last week, I think what the loss to Cincinnati showed is that the Steelers need a Deontay Johnson because this offense can't operate when it's just three big guys just all basically doing the same thing. Juju Smith-Schuster does what Juju Smith-Schuster does, and that occupies the middle of the field, and you definitely need that. But on the outside, it was Chase Claypool, James Washington, and Cody White, which are all exactly the same player, to different levels of talent, but they're all the same exact player. So it's tough to make an offense work, especially an offense that needs to get the ball out quicker than they are with a quarterback who's struggling and an offensive line that's abysmal right now. Deontay is, I think, the easy choice. I think Deontay goes just from, what I know, what I've seen on the injury report. I think Deontay plays. Yeah, per sources, I think Deontay plays. Juju, just knowing Juju's history, I think that Juju has a good shot to go, but rib injuries are tough. And to play on a rib injury, I think that the fact that it was a whole week and also the fact that it's a 4:00 game, and people might say that, like, what are those 3 hours going to do? Those 3 hours give you a lot of time to really test out that rib and see how much pain you could actually take on it, what you're physically capable of doing with it. I think those 3 hours do a lot. Hamstring injuries, to have a hamstring injury on a Thursday, I mean, we saw what the groin injuries did Devin Bush and Joe Hayden late in the week. That could be an easy, quick, hey, he's not going. This is already a bad sign. I still think the Steelers are okay without Chase Claypool. I think if Deontay and Juju cannot go, that is a big, big loss for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, here's the thing. We saw what this team looked like without Deontay last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not good. Not good. No, I felt like no receiver
with them the week before.
Yeah, but I know, but just in terms of only looking at the receiving core, I'm going to drop a hot take for you right now. I think James Washington is probably the best 50-50 ball catcher out of anybody in the wide receiver room. Just purely going up and coming down with the football. I think he's got to be better. I've seen that dude come down with footballs. Dude, crazy. Bro, I'm not talking about separation. I'm not talking about route running. I'm not talking about blazing past people with their speed. I'm talking about just like Ben throwing it into the end zone, and there's like 3 Cleveland Browns around James Washington, and he just comes down with that. I can't explain it, bro.
All right, let me ask you this, just to clarify here. James Washington does it look like James Washington's a better 50-50 ball catcher because he's only had like 5 of them in his 4-year career in Pittsburgh? Or is it because he actually, like Chase Claypool, he started his career on a crazy catch, a crazy 50-50 ball that he caught while basically falling out of the end zone. It was the toughest catch a rookie has ever made in NFL history, and it was his first ever catch. He's done that about 10 other times, and granted, he's dropped about 15 other passes in that situation, and he's gotten about 5 holding calls. He falls every single time he touches the ball. But I don't know if I agree with that just because I think James Washington's done it 4 times in 4 years. So, like, it's going to look good, obviously.
I'm just saying efficiency-wise.
I've seen James Washington, man,
with bodies around him. I've seen James Washington jump up for a football and come back down with a football better than Chase Claypool has.
Okay. I agree. Okay. I'm not going to say I agree, but I see where you're coming from. Cody White looks good.
It shouldn't be that way.
He's 1 for 1. He's got 0 drops. So we're going to put
it should be that way. Chase Claypool was being held as Calvin Johnson 2.0, man. Like all the numbers were there. All of the like superlatives were there. Like everything pointed to this guy being Calvin Johnson, and he's not Calvin Johnson. He's not until he learns how to pick a football out of the air.
Okay. I like that. Megatron, you're not getting the name Megatron. You're not sticking with the name Megatron, falling down every time you go up for a ball.
It's actually
Johnson didn't get penalties. He beat double coverage.
It's Mapletron.
What did I say? Megatron? Megatron is the original Mapletron. I'm sorry. My bad, guys. Let me ask you this question, because before we jumped on here, you were a little pessimistic. Steelers are going to get washed. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. All right. Say it happens. Say it doesn't happen. We're going to talk about doesn't happen. The Steelers are still 1-2 right now. They're heading to Lambeau. The Packers are 2-1. They're coming off 2 back-to-back wins. They look like a totally different team after that week 1 loss to the Saints. If the Steelers pull this off and they walk out of Lambeau 2-2, and say at least one other team in the AFC North loses, what does that mean? Does that just mean that this is just all back to normal? The Steelers we're just back in this 2-2. It's just one of those years, man. Like, do we just shut off every alarm and move forward?
So a win in Lambeau would see a lot of things happen. Number one, a lot of people would lose money, bro, including me. A lot of people would lose money, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. Number two, I feel like if the Steelers walk into Lambeau and win, it'll be because their defense stepped up and was able to carry them to a win, because that offense has shown me nothing right now. Nothing. I agree with that. So a win in Lambeau would mean that the Steelers defense is, at least in that 60-minute span, everything we thought it could be, and maybe even a little bit more, stopping the likes of Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones, and Devontae Adams. Okay.
What they've shown in week 1.
Yep, exactly. And that was leading to my next point. We've seen them go onto the road and beat Buffalo, a very good Buffalo Bills team. And then theoretically, we see them go into Lambeau Field and beat a very good Green Bay Packers team. Excuse me. It's got to give you hope, right? Like maybe those 2 losses were flukes, Oof. Maybe the Bengals just got the best out of the Steelers in a division game. Maybe the Raiders just came in and worked some Las Vegas magic, right? So bad teams don't go into Buffalo and Lambeau and win both of those games. Bad teams do not go 2-0 on the road versus Buffalo and Green Bay. It just doesn't happen. Like, the NFL does not work like that. Granted, I know it's any given Sunday league. I know all of these guys are talented. Those things just don't happen.
That was not where I thought you were going with that. Go ahead, keep going. You got more?
Yeah. It also means 2-2. You got to look at it as a clean slate, right? I mean, Zach Banner coming back, hopefully sooner rather than later, right? Mm-hmm. You're hoping another game underneath the belt of guys like Kendrick Green and Kevin Dotson can kind of right that ship in the front of the line. I mean, Pat Freiermuth is going to have another week of experience in blocking dudes into oblivion and catching tough red zone passes, right? Najee Harris gets another game of NFL experience. TJ Watt gets a game underneath his belt after, sitting out due to injury. Mika hopefully turns it around. I mean, I know I've been very pessimistic on the show for the last couple of weeks, and probably rightfully so, because damn, dude, have we watched some bad football in the last couple of games. But should the Steelers win in Green Bay, I don't feel like we should start planning Super Bowl parades. I don't feel like we should start printing T-shirts and say Super Bowl 56 or LVI champions, whatever we talked about. LVI.
Wait, it's this. I got to do it this way. Nope, the other way. There it is.
There we go. But at the same token, you have to look at this like they're 2-2. If they win in Green Bay, something went right. So that's a sign of optimism. And it's a long season, man. It's a very long season. There's a lot of football left to be played. There's 7 playoff spots, now moving forward. It's not crazy out of the question to think the Steelers could sneak into one of those wild card spots.
Wow. I was not expecting any of this.
I know you weren't.
Expecting you to just be like, yeah, man, it still sucks. Everybody still sucks. The offensive line still sucks. Ben Roethlisberger still sucks. The defense is good. That's what I was fully expecting out of that.
I think my biggest takeaway from that would be the defense can probably single-handedly carry these guys to around a 500 record, very similar to what we saw in 2019. I think that would be my very biggest takeaway from the Steelers winning in Lambeau.
That's exactly where I was going with this. The Pittsburgh Steelers defense right now is better than they were in 2019. The rushing game is just as bad, maybe a little worse, but like how much worse can it possibly be? Like, so it can't be that much worse. The offensive line was trash back then. They're trash right now. And I get it. They're much worse today than they were in 2019. But the biggest difference is Ben Roethlisberger, whether he is good as not or not, is still Ben Roethlisberger. And at the end of the day, if you're going to have an offense that isn't able to do anything, the least you could ask for is somebody to be behind center who could actually lead them confidently. And if Zach Banner comes back, which you alluded to, that changes a lot on the offensive line because Zach Banner, even if he sucks, even if Zach Banner is not good whatsoever as a starting right tackle, he's still a leader on that offensive line, and he's more of a voice than they have right now, which means a lot because, like I just said, you need leaders when your offense is this bad. And I think that a win in Lambeau would show just that the defense could do what the defense needs to do to win ball games. The offense just has to work with them. This has to go hand in hand. It creates a very, very tiny window for success for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Nothing could go wrong. And that's very hard to do when half of your team is on an injury report right now. But it's possible. And I think that it just, like you said, it goes back to zero. This is a 500 football team who's right there in the AFC North. And maybe the AFC North is going to be just as difficult to win as everybody imagined, which is fine for the Pittsburgh Steelers. If the winner of the AFC North wins 10 games, that's good for Pittsburgh. That's very good for Pittsburgh. So a win in Lambeau, a win in Buffalo, I don't know if I'm going to say that maybe those two losses were flukes. I think maybe people are going to hate me for this one, but maybe the wins are flukes if they go into Lambeau and win it. But I think that it shows enough, like you said, to say, hey, we can win some football games. We can make this season interesting. We can ride this roller coaster as long as we need to ride it. And I think that's all anybody's looking for right now. We're off the tracks. Let's get back on them. See how the season goes. It's week 4. Could be a lot, could be a little. It's not Friday. It's Thursday. But we're going to do it anyways because this is my favorite time of the week. I wait all week long to lose so much money because of what you tell me to do. I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited.
Oh,
the Pittsburgh Steelers are 6.5-point underdogs to the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau. Yikes. But let me tell you this. If the defense is healthy, they held Buffalo to 16 points in a game. You're telling me that they can't hold the Green Bay Packers to within a touchdown? I don't know about that one.
Bro, Josh Allen ain't no Aaron Rodgers, man.
And
the Bills don't have the run game that the Packers do.
That part's true.
I can't. That's not to take away from what the Steelers did in week 1, because I was astonished that he walked into Buffalo and played like that. It also was very astonished at the next following 2 weeks afterwards for worse reasons. Touchdown in Lambeau. You can look at it one of two ways. One, because, sports books usually give the home team 3 points, right? So realistically, people think the Packers will probably win around that 4 or 5 point margin. So it should be a close game, right?
Mm-hmm.
But man, 6.5 points is a lot to cover. It's a lot to ask out of those guys on the road in Lambeau Field, given the current state of the offensive line and everybody and their mother in the hospital right now. It's a lot.
It is a lot. I'm going to tell you this. If we had to pick, because we have to pick, it's got to be one or the other. If we're
I already know my answer.
I'm going to say take it. I think that giving the Steelers 6.5 points, a touchdown, like all they have to do is hold Aaron Rodgers to 2 field goals instead of touchdowns. And they can make that a 6-point game. That's all they have to do. I mean, granted, the offense has to do something. Maybe they won't do anything, But I think that to say that the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to lose by a whole touchdown or more is a bigger risk than to say that they're not. And because of that, I say I'm going with the 6.5 point dog.
Well, I guess I like the bigger risk because, man, I don't see the Steelers being within 6.5 points of these guys, especially on the road. And the Packers front seven isn't exactly phenomenal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the Steelers run game hasn't shown me anything to where they can consistently move the ball on the ground, which means they're going to have to find a lot of success through the air, which is not something a lot of people can do against the Green Bay Packers secondary, especially that boy Jair Alexander.
True.
That corner they got, one of the best in the league. The best in the league. And he can move inside, outside, or wherever they want him. So whether it's Juju, whether it's Deontay, I feel like some clamps are going to come out on Sunday. Granted, can't clamp anybody for an entire game, but Jair is a definite difference maker for the Packers on the defensive side of the ball. When it comes to the Steelers defense and containing Aaron Rodgers, that'll be, I think, pretty fun to watch. I think I'll really be looking forward to watching those two kind of go back and forth and see who gets the better out of one another. But you know what? It's an offensive league. It's a league where, offenses a lot more times than not can beat good defenses. And it's just Minka hasn't played all that great. He hasn't looked phenomenal. TJ's coming back, which I'm really excited for because I think that can make huge differences and pay big dividends for the Steelers whenever it comes to getting that ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands quicker than he would like to. I don't know, man. I feel like the Packers' advantage on the defensive side of the ball whenever the Steelers' offense is on the field is just significantly larger than the Steelers' defense against the Packers' offense. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, just trying to match those two up. I definitely think the Packers win. I'm not thinking the Steelers go in there by any margin and win, right? 6 points is a lot. 6 points is a lot, especially for a team to cover, just because you never know what can happen. But I do think the Packers are the better team. 6 points, 7 points, 8 points, whatever it is, but I would still take the Packers with the spread.
All right. Donnie's going Packers. Let me ask you this. 55, and a half points over under. I mean, I'm a hammer it down on the under. What are you feeling on that one?
Yeah, I'm going to grab my hammer and do it right with you. 55.5, which means in order for the over the hit, you'd have to hit 56, which means that both
45,
teams would,
45 and a half.
45.
Did I say 55? 45.
Yeah, I might have misheard.
45 and a half. Everybody's got to score 20. Everybody's got to score 23 points. Steelers have done that one time.
I can't trust that. I can't trust that. The one time they did.
Yep. And they won. The one time they did. Here we go.
It was off of a block punt.
It was off of a block punt. Very, very, very true.
They're not blocking any punts this week.
Let me tell you, I'm hammering the under. I'm hammering it as hard as humanly possible. And guess what? There's no way that the Green Bay Packers are scoring 55 and a half points by themselves. Ain't happening. They ain't even getting close enough so that the Steelers can push you over. Go with the under. Steelers, 6.5. Dogs. Take it. I think that's a perfect combination right there. Parlay him if you could at the SI Sportsbook. Hammer it down. And if the Steelers win, you're feeling fantastic.
Brother, I've been burned by parlays so many times, and I continue to do them. I have no idea why. I think they're fun.
They are fun. You want to know, I got a bone to pick with the Pittsburgh Steelers, though, because they screwed up my last parlay because I thought it was an easy 2.5 points. Easy two. All they had to do was win by a field goal against Cincinnati. I mean, I've watched the Pittsburgh Steelers play Cincinnati Bengals since I'm this tall. They always win by 3. I got a bone to pick. They screwed up my whole parlay. I'm saying hammer it down under. Give me the 6.5 points. You're saying over the 6 or under and over the 6.5 points. Take the 6.5 point spread. So obviously you want the Packers to, or you think the Packers are going to win. Give me your predictions here.
I think the Packers are going to win. Give me. I do think the Steelers find the end zone. I do think they score a touchdown. Give me solid 24-10.
24-10.
24-10, bro.
Yeah, yikes. Yikes. Steelers are not going to have a good weekend in Lambeau Field, according to Donnie Drew.
It's going to be a late touchdown. They're going to be up 17-10. And then, like, the Packers probably going to get the ball back with, like, 8 minutes left. Drive down the field, score a touchdown, make it 24-10 with, like, 3 minutes left. And then everybody starts, like, filling out the stadium.
All righty. So I don't think the Steelers win this game. But I got to keep it within that 6 points, and I feel good about that 6 points. I think that the Green Bay offense has a much harder time finding the end zone than people think. I will say this. I think that at some point the defense gets into the end zone, though, and that's not going to feel good for Pittsburgh Steelers fans, but that's my hot take this week. Green Bay's defense finds the end zone. I'm saying final score. I got to hammer the under, too, there. I'm going to say it's a 20-17 game here. I think that the Steelers offense scores 17, which is a lot, but I think the defense does enough for them to help. Special teams does a little bit. Maybe Ray McLeod makes something happen, gets a little juice flowing here. And I think that the Packers find a way to win it. Aaron Rodgers probably in the fourth quarter. I don't really necessarily think it's like a buzzer beater. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like Aaron Rodgers leads the 2-minute drive to end the game. I just don't think the Steelers are going to be able to get it done at the end when they're down 3. It's a rough one. 1-3 would be a rough start. But hey, like we just talked about 10 minutes ago, if they can win this out, whole new season starts over. 500 record. AFC North is looking red hot. The kitchen is on fire right now. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk, and we will see you next time.